Now.
It is frozen.
Not yet. Oh man, Borgia Moy, the tech difficulties are like crazy. Anyway, this is you,
Kill,
me, Kasia,
and Eugene.
film reviews for Reprobates.
It's you.
Yeah, and us too. On the docket today.
Wait a minute. Gather around, children. Let us tell you a story. Once upon a time in Hollywood.
That's what it's called. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is what it's called. It's the ninth movie from QT, Quentin Tarantino.
I'm sorry for my attire, but I just came back from training and I took a shower and I was about to go to sleep, and then Eugene was like, "No, you gotta work, bitch."
That's not really what happened, but it's a good enough story to describe what happened. Now, for those of you who actually go up in the top right corner and subscribe to the show, you were pre-notified that the show was happening. For everybody else who counts on Twitter to be told that the show is happening, well, let me tell you, Twitter decided to change their whatever, their technology, and it screwed us up. So we probably have a live audience of one. The rest of you will have to get it later. It doesn't matter. We're here to talk about a movie we saw last night, fresh in our heads, wine and no wine, called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Brad Pitt.
And Leonardo DiCaprio.
Margot Robbie. Al Pacino.
Yes.
Timothy Olyphant.
Yes. Who was the actress? Was
Dakota Fanning.
Dakota Fanning.
And it talks about the intersection on about 3 or 4 days in Los Angeles in 1969 in February, and then a couple of days, many months later in August, coinciding with the days of the Tate LoBianco murders at the hands of the Manson family. That is marginally the story. Mm-hmm. I say marginally because going into it, I would suggest if you haven't seen the movie now, but you're listening to this, don't read reviews.
Don't read reviews and then watch this.
Yeah, and don't stop watching.
Watch it after, because we are going to spoiler it badly.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
And in this case, it's very important to not spoil it for you.
Yep.
So please go away now if you haven't seen it yet.
And we're not gonna give the rating like we usually do now, but suffice it to say, we both really like the movie. Go away if you're gonna see it. I know some of you texted me.
You gotta see it.
Some of you texted me and said you're gonna go see it on Monday. Some of you texted me or tweeted me, so you're gonna see it on Tuesday, or DM me on Tuesday. You're gonna see it on Tuesday. Go away, come back and see if what we've said concurs with what you felt. But for those who don't give a shit, this show is now for you. Mm-hmm. So go ahead. I blabbed.
That's okay. Mm-hmm. I like you blabbing.
Oh, baby. We froze again. Okay, no. We're back. We're back. Yeah.
We have technical difficulties. So the story was about an actor, struggling actor, a fairly popular actor of a
formerly popular actor.
Yeah.
Rick Dalton.
Yeah, and his stunt
played by Leonardo DiCaprio, and his stunt double played by Brad Pitt.
And they were both excellent. They were fucking excellent. That's it. Bye. No.
Yeah. I mean, the movie, some of the critics are complaining about the movie along the lines of, look, my firm belief is that social media has bred this kind of attitudinal shift where, one, everybody is a supremely qualified critic of everything. And two, their criticism and their critiques must be leveled with as much urgency, pique, and ill will as possible, because they're that important. So tonally, the language has changed in a way that makes me really uncomfortable. Like, nothing can be, well, I like it, or I kind of don't like it. Everything has to be, how could that guy fucking make a movie like that and completely bypass the role of women? And I got you.
Yeah.
But the movie was set in 1969. Some of us remember 1969.
Some of us do.
And some of us remember that things were a little weird in 1969. Do you want a movie that's about 1969? Or do you want a movie about 2019 that acts like it's about 1969? Your choice.
Yeah, and then people were like complaining about the character of Sharon Tate. I would say that she was pretty similar to what she was in real life, like from interviews and what people were saying about her. She was actually pretty shy, but very like nice woman.
Right.
She wasn't speaking a lot. She was reading books, and and she was ambitious, and she was talented, and she struggled with her talent, and she struggled with acting. Like people were like seeing first her beauty, and then the fact that she actually can play. But she wasn't like a huge superstar in those times. She never meant like she never actually had a chance to become one.
And in all likelihood, she never would have become one. In actual fact.
Like her ambition was to become a American Catherine Deneuve, but what she really wanted to do was actually acting in comedies. That's what she wanted to do for real.
Right, and Lucille Ball was plenty attractive, but there hadn't been by 1969 an embraced MO of cute actress funny. They hadn't made that connection in Hollywood just yet. So you had cute actress, and then you had funny. The bonding never really, nobody ever called Lucille Ball beautiful, though she was, So Sharon Tate was in this weird kind of position of being close enough to taste it, but not quite close enough to embrace it. I sense that had she been, Marilyn Monroe had the it. Jane Mansfield had quasi it. Sharon Tate was kind of just there. And I thought everything in the movie was painstakingly accurate from somebody who was alive in 1969. Take my freaking word for it. From the cans that were on the shelves in the stores, the stuff that was on the vanities in people's dressing rooms. That stuff was painstakingly accurate for somebody who remembers what dials look like on radio, what TVs that you didn't weren't flat screen were like. Mm-hmm. It was, from the point of view, I don't know, set design or set decorator. Oh, we froze again. Oh, there we go. We're back. It was really pretty. It was really, the writing was good. The acting was good.
The casting was amazing.
The casting was good. The story was good.
Mm-hmm.
And moreover, increasingly, I'm starting to see these directors. This is like the second movie we've seen. It was a Jarmusch one where they went meta, the vampire, zombie one, and this one that seems to fuck around with a narrative in a way that's really compelling. And I got to credit David Lynch for it. Twin Peaks, or since Twin Peaks, like Lost Highway.
I agree with that. Yeah, David Lynch kind of started it. Even though Jarmusch was always pre-meta.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was meta. He was always playing with like what's real, what's not real, what's fantasy, what's dream.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like David Lynch is the first guy, really.
Which, if you think about it, it goes back to the fact that he says, look, films are dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And in dreams, you might be running down the street in a blue suit and then look down and you've got a red suit on.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to matter. It doesn't have to be consistent. And the name of this movie is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So right from the outset, they're suggesting fables. They're suggesting bedtime stories. They're suggesting stories that are designed to help you sleep.
Exactly. And I feel like it was kind of like a bedtime story for mostly Roman Polanski. Because the ending is very surprising of that movie. It was actually the movie is really funny for the whole time, even though it's kind of like it's a kind of like a drama, but it's still funny. It's Tarantino. But at the end, I had tears in my eyes because I started thinking very deeply about it. What just happened, and how great would it be if what Tarantino put out there, if it was true, it would be so fucking wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't. So.
Right. And we're doing a really good job of actually not ruining the movie for you. So for those of you,
I'm actually trying because I know that some people are gonna watch it anyway,
mm-hmm.
and I don't want. I want you to like not know what happened. Really.
Yeah. So it is. I mean, it's a comedy, but I think the comedy is very adult, and I'm gonna have to say that I think this is Tarantino's first adult movie. You know, there was something kind of broad and cartoonish about some of his other movies, but he retains the same kind of mordant wit, but without being broad necessarily. It's like a guy. It's like a director who's finally comfortable enough with who it is that he is. It's like, this is my movie. Hope you like it. If you don't, go fuck yourselves.
Exactly.
Which it feels like. And some critics were complaining about some of the humor, and they tied it into the whole Spike Lee thing. It's like, why is he always putting racist stuff in people's mouths? Well, I don't know if you've lived in the real world
because this is how people talk.
Well, and when
unfortunately
when one character says to the other, "Don't you can't cry in front of Mexicans." Nothing pejorative about that. What he's telling the guy necessarily is man up, or don't let them see you weak.
Yeah.
One critic looked at it from the guise of Trumpism in 2019, and that like this is the last bastion of white malitude. And you're sucking this movie through the lens of your 2019 social media mind, and I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that. I thought it was a very funny line. Don't let the Mexicans see you cry.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand the sensitivities. I honor those sensitivities. But God damn it, if I'm going to let anybody tell me, like, Oxbow, my band, is trying to play Israel. Specifically because of the boycott, and people like, they got to. It's like, you don't tell me what to do. You don't ever. You're going to tell me about the art that I create? It's like telling me about the underwear I'm going to choose. You can't do it. And just because it's a major motion picture that you had to pay money to see, forget it. Yeah,
exactly. Like, you can't control artists. Like, let them do whatever they want to do, okay?
Right.
I mean, Tarantino did it the right way. Like, the cast was great. It wasn't produced by Miramax anymore, so he just said bye-bye to Harvey Weinstein.
Yep.
Which was an excellent move, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
People, of course, were complaining about this because his previous movies were in Miramax. Like, yeah, like many other movies. Well,
yeah, and it's that social media tonality, like, a really overly aggressive, sort of borderline angry response to something that doesn't deserve it. I mean, what deserves it? If there's a video out there of me getting my head bashed in by a cop, that probably deserves that. The valence needs to be increased. So that's the kind of response I want to that video of me getting my head bashed in. But if it's a major motion picture, an entertainment vehicle, fuck off.
Yeah, okay? It's not about politics as well. Like, get angry in politics. That's okay. But, like, leave the art alone, really. You don't have to, like, filter everything through your angry self.
Or think of it. I mean, I just can't imagine a Bertrand Russell or name any other, or Susan Sontag. I can't imagine anybody coming to with that level of vitriol that in the first 3 or 4 reviews I saw of the critics that didn't like it, they were like bringing to bear. It's like, stop it. How old are you anyway? Because if you lived through 1969, and they said, well, it was a regressive movie. It's like anybody who says making America like the olden times. And how can you talk about 1969 without talking about the civil rights? It wasn't that type of fucking movie. If you want to give a movie a hard time, give that hard time to Green Book. I thought that was deserved. I saw it on a plane recently, and I was like, on another one of these. But for this movie, that wasn't the story. And if you think it was, you grossly misunderstood what the story was.
And then again, like, movies is a form of art, and art has several purposes, and two of these purposes are to entertain and to make you think, and then to make you feel. But just like, you can't tell the director what would you like to see and like be angry at him that his vision is different from your vision. Just accept his vision, think about it, But I feel that people are just like, people like to be angry. That's it.
Right.
That's why everybody's like shitting on this movie.
Well, not everybody.
Not everybody, but like from what I've seen, like I found like 3 reviews of that movie, and all of them were kind of angry and like what, you jealous? Like, that's the thing? Are you jealous?
I sort of suspect that part of it came from Tarantino's proximity to Weinstein, as well as some of the allegations leveled at him, non-sexual allegations leveled at him by Uma Thurman, like making her drive the car and kill Bill.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
She was just
Well,
stunned, and
he did it several times.
or choosing to be the one that choked her, or when there was some scene where some actor got their face spit in, and then he wanted to be the one to do it. The guy's got quirks, and
Well, but yeah, Eugene had to like cover his eyes for all the feet scenes.
Yeah. He's a foot fetish, and I got a foot phobia. So me and Mr. QT are on the exact opposite side of the streets on this one. If you have a well-shod foot, I can deal with it. But the dirty feet, and Margot Robbie's dirty feet, and then the hippie chick's dirty feet, it was a little much for a guy like.
It was just a movie. It only smells.
It's yeah.
And then I wanted to say something and I forgot. Well, the feet, the Tarantino.
And the thing is, I always like these Lion and Winter movies anyway, where there are issues of finiteness, mortality, both micro and macro in the script, and around the script. Tarantino saying, "Well, I'm going to direct one more movie after this, get to 10 movies because." Am I relevant? A friend of mine got a call from David Bowie once. This is David Dean. This is David. Hey, David, how you doing? I got a question for you. Yeah. You think I'm still relevant? Fucking David Bowie was calling, asking a journalist if he was still relevant.
Well, it's a good question.
It's a good question, and the key to David Bowie's genius was that he cared enough to ask.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are the questions I think that Tarantino is asking, and I think any decent artist should be asking it. But I think he chose actors that were probably also in similar positions, wondering like, I'm rich enough, I don't have to do this anymore, so I should do it because I love it. Do I love it? What do I love about it? Mm-hmm. So these were for anybody with an artistic inclination, these are questions that you need to ask. I've been doing music since 1980. Ask myself every day, do I love it? Do I want to do it? Do I want to love it? These are questions like questioning the existence of God.
Like this is the question that you have to ask yourself these questions every day about your own life.
Yep.
Because if you don't, then suddenly you're waking up and you're like, oh my God, there's shit all over me. What am I doing?
Yep.
But I know, I just remember what I wanted to say, coming back to what Tarantino was attacked for. Well, he was also defending Polanski for that whole anal rape thing.
Did he? I never read that he did.
Yeah, I mean, he said pretty much what many people want to say, but nobody feels like they should say it. But he actually said that. He said, well, the times were different then, and it's not like she was actually raped. Like, she was 13. He doesn't know that, but there was no rape involved. There was no, like, violence involved in the whole thing.
He raped her in the ass.
But, yeah, I think that, there's nothing to really defend, but there are people like...
He drugged her, and then he raped a 13-year-old girl in the ass.
The question is what 13-year-old girl was doing in his mansion.
He said, I want to take photos of you. Simple, is a naive time. The parents were like,
no, what I'm saying is it's not the girl's fault, but what were her parents? It's just like, you're not letting your 13-year-old daughter to hang with some fucking director. Like, what do you think?
He was, nobody would expect that. Nobody would expect
I would.
You would because he did it once.
No, I would expect that from anybody.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It was.
But it's not like it was evil what he did. It was apparently
drugging
evil.
And fucking somebody in the ass who's 13 is generally fucked up.
But then like my
consistently
my theory about it
categorically
is like we talked about. Of course, I never defended Polanski. He's one of my favorite directors still, regardless. But what I was talking to Eugene about it yesterday after the movie, that I think that he just went crazy after all that shit that happened to him. Like, if your pregnant wife is getting butchered by some fucking hippies for no reason, you're probably going crazy. So
yeah, maybe. I mean,
it's not an excuse.
Yeah,
and
right.
But it's not. I don't feel that. I don't feel the way I feel about Polanski, about Woody Allen. Like, I can't watch his movies anymore. I just can't.
Yeah, well, I mean, Polanski doesn't direct. I mean, Woody Allen's every year with this movie thing, and he's really being aggressive about trying to fight the charges. I mean, Polanski didn't really fight the charges; he accepted his guilt, and when he got nervous that the judge was going to exert the maximum amount of pressure, even after he'd accepted his guilt, he was like, you know what, I'm not going to jail for 25 years for this. I'm not going to survive it. Of course, now he's been on the run for more than 25 years.
Well, but at least he's kind of semi-free. Like I don't think he feels
Well,
very
he doesn't.
trapped, you know?
He doesn't need America. But he did have contrition, which is where Woody Allen has not. Woody Allen maintains he didn't do it, and he's got nothing to feel bad about. Polanski was like, yeah, I fucked up, and I feel bad about the woman, the girl, the 13-year-old girl, who is now a woman, has forgiven him. But I'm quite sure that her parents, or that they're still alive, I'm sure it was a personal tragedy for them, as it would for any parent of a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And having been a father of the 13-year-old girl 3 times, I would safely say that if Polanski had done it to one of my daughters, I would have murdered them.
Me too. I mean, it's absolutely like not. If you can't just explain it, but I think that was the part that Tarantino was like very open about it. That I don't think he raped her. I think they just had sex and she was 13 and it was wrong. But
he's
there was no like
he's guessing and he wasn't there. And Tarantino probably should have kept his fucking mouth shut because the movie wasn't about Polanski. The movie was about a lot of different things.
Yeah, like Polanski was like there a couple of times. Yeah, but there was Bruce Lee though.
Yeah,
and it was brilliant.
Bruce Lee was nice. There were a couple. The guy who played Steve McQueen actually is a British actor. Mm-hmm. And he did a fine job.
They all did
a fine job stealing jobs away from an American actor, but he sort of looked like Steve McQueen, and he did in a great American accent. Steve McQueen accent got the kind of flat vocal inflection, so not bad. Okay, so
and then all the Manson family members. It was just like creepy and eerie how similar they look to actual people.
Yeah, Susan Atkins, the woman who played Susan Atkins, was pretty close. Squeaky Fromm, for those of us who were alive and who remember, didn't really look like Squeaky Fromm. Susan Atkins was really freaking close.
Charles Manson was very similar.
Yeah, so a little softer than the real guy, but of course, it's a movie. Linda Kasabian, which was the one I think who escaped and didn't actually get out. And the guy who played Tex Watson didn't look very much. Linda Kasabian did look like Linda Kasabian.
He kind of like, he had like a vibe, like Tex.
Yeah, not really. Tex was a little bit bigger. This guy looked more like Adam Driver. Excuse me, that was the name of the actor who I was trying to remember who he looks like. But anyway, these are small, niggling things.
Yeah, but I'm not always paying attention to that because,
Okay, we're going to do our special rating system.
Mm-hmm.
Ding, ding, ding. On the count of 3, you reveal your pick. Your number 1 to 0 to 10 pick. And I'm going to go. I got my fingers ready. Okay,
yeah,
ready?
Too.
A 1 and a 2 and a 3. Oh, okay.
I'm giving it a 10.
She gave it a 10. I think we've only given one other 10 before.
Yeah.
I don't remember what that movie was at this point in time. I'm giving it a 9.
I was thinking about 9, but then I was like, fuck it. I really enjoyed that movie. I want to watch it again. I will watch it probably as I watch Pulp Fiction several times.
Yeah. I'll watch it again. I'll tell you why I gave it a 9. Because I remember when he was writing with Roger Avery, mostly because Roger Avery's cousin used to be dated for a long time, Oxbow's guitar player. And I remember people forget they had a big falling out and they separated. And then he did the Killing Zoe, which was a fairly terrible movie. Roger Avery did. And so people were like, the real genius was Tarantino. And then Tarantino was stuck having to write without his genius co-writing partner. And so he said, well, I got it. I'll just do kind of what I did before and do that again. And in my mind, it took him a few tries to actually get a voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once he's gotten a voice, it's fine. I prefer generally stylists, the people that are more slick, early Scorsese and so on. But this was solid in I don't want to say workmanlike. This was a really solid.
It was very solid. It was,
but
it
10 is for revelatory, and I don't think this for me was revelatory.
I'm just kind of fresh, so you know, it just like really touched me in many ways. But like I was laughing, I was kind of feeling the drama, I was feeling stressed out for the whole movie because I knew how it's gonna end up, and then I was surprised, and then I was touched by the like how it ended, and then you know, it was just like, yeah, why not? Why not?
Yep.
You know,
Well, and this is like
I added that fucking one for all those fucking angry people who are just like ruining everything.
Well, this is like,
so yeah,
right? Michael Antonioni, who does La Ventura, was like, why? The woman gets lost in the beginning. Why should she be found in the end? I directed a mystery, a real mystery. Movies that you see that you think are mysteries are really solutions and not mysteries. So in the same thing, why not? Direct the movie you want. He did a good job. I advise you to see it.
Yeah, me too.
So there you go, another edition.
One thing I need to I promised a shout out to a 5-year-old girl, so I'm gonna do it right now because
do it in Polish so she's
waiting. Of course, she's waiting for it. So hey Inga, pozdrawiam ciebie, ja ciocia Kasia i wujek Eugene.
What she said.
Kochamy cię.
All right, y'all. Next time. Later.
Later.
I think we're still on.